Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I'm your host and joined by my co-host Mackenzie Miller and Britsburg Owen. G'day, guys. How's it going? And yes, we are 1 hour late because I stuffed up. And I'm telling you right now, this is a daily occurrence or a weekly occurrence trying to figure out when to do the podcast at the right time. It is my 10 a.m. I think it's Mackenzie's 3 p.m. Is that correct?
Yep.
Right. And Owen, it's your 11 something.
10 past 11, mate.
Right. So yeah, I had it for 9 a.m. my time, and I woke up when, oh no, goodness, damn. I was like, I did it wrong. But this is it's just so hard to figure out every time because I got to go to Google and think, okay, if it's my time here, what is LA? Then I got to figure out what the LA time is for Owen. Anyways, we're in 3 different time zones, but we're here to talk about the Steelers. And first of all, yeah, how you doing, Mackenzie? What's going on?
I'm doing great. It was a good holiday weekend, and now I'm ready to talk some more Steelers.
Did you get any Steelers stuff for Christmas from Santa?
No, I didn't.
Nah, me neither.
Oh, man.
What about you, Owen? Did you get any Christmas stuff, any Steelers stuff, or get your girls any Steeler gear, towels, whatnot, football jerseys?
No Steeler gear. A bit of money, which is probably going to
money. Yeah, that's right.
I was going to go and pay bills, I reckon, at this rate. Not a lot of Steeler gear, but just money and a few bits and pieces, a new ring light for streaming, and that's pretty much it, mate. How about you?
Right. No, I didn't get any either. I got my family got me a bonsai. I'm into bonsais. I'm probably the weirdest character alive, an Australian that likes American football and bonsais. But I also play pickleball too. That's pretty weird as well. You gotta play it, man. I'm coming over to America and I'm gonna go on tour. So I'm gonna get out there.
Pickleball is huge in LA. Pickleball is
it's started. It's got its own league now. I think even some players are buying like leagues and stuff like that. But it started in America and it's so much fun. But I got a bonsai and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. But no Steeler gear because I have too much. Like I look around my room and go, far out. I've got too much stuff.
Can I have some?
I'll send you a jersey. Which one of my 9? I'll send you my AB jersey if you want.
Can I see what, Mackenzie? You can have my Chase Claypool jersey if you want as well.
Yeah, some 2 good receivers. There you go. You can't wear them now, can you? I definitely can't wear my AB. It just doesn't happen. But in the chat, guys, we have J Devil came in about 2 hours early because the show was a bit behind. My apologies. Steeler Girl says, see you guys in an hour. And hi, guys. We have George Teston, Reginald Rivers from Bartlett, Tennessee, I believe, and Robert. I agree too. So let's talk about it. So today's theme, I guess we're going to talk about, I really wanted to focus on Kenny Pickett. You know, his development, what's this season, how it's gone so far. There are a lot of Kenny haters out there. I think I just don't understand. Like it was like one of the craziest games, and I don't think we've talked to Mackenzie about you with the game, have we? With the Raiders game, me and Owen did the post game. We haven't had your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the Raiders game with Kenny Pickett? We'll start there.
You guys, that game was a whirlwind of emotions again. Like I was not prepared for what we saw last weekend, but I'm glad that we were able to get the win. Not surprising that it came down to the last minute. Just another classic Steelers win on a Christmas weekend. But I feel like I wasn't really nothing really stood out to me, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Do you think there needs to be heat though on Kenny Pickett in this game? There's quite a bit of heat saying this was his worst performance. Like, is there any heat? Is there any justification for that?
Look, I mean, every week we've seen him get better, right? I don't think we saw him get better this week, and I think if anything, there's a lot to learn from this. I mean, the Raiders aren't the best team in the league, yet we were losing to them the whole time. So gotta look at them. We gotta look at that. But I don't want to say it was a step back, but I don't want to say it was a step forward.
What are your thoughts, Owen, about the recent heat on? Of course, there's going to be heat. Actually, there's going to be heat every single week, right, on Kenny Pickett, no matter what, until the day that he retires. There'll be heat. What are your thoughts about him? Did he improve? Did he go stale, or did he go backwards in this game against the Raiders? You there? I want. Yep.
It wasn't his best performance of recent times. It wasn't his best performance of recent times. I thought he had a pretty dodgy few quarters. But, I think the important thing was he came through at the end. He seems to be developing Ben's clutch gene, doesn't he? Coming through in the fourth quarter. That was a big last drive, driving them 78 yards down the field, going, 5 of 7 or 7 of 9. I can't remember what it was, and the pass to George Pickens was spot on. And I think it was very telling. Mike Tomlin at the end was really pumped. And the way of him coming off, going, "We grew up tonight. We grew up tonight." I think that was spot on. I think Kenny and a lot of the young players on the offense really did grow up in that last on that last drive. So yeah, he didn't have the best game at that point, but you know what? You can't really assess anybody in those conditions. It was freezing cold. It was snowing. It was icy. The ball is like a rock. I've played rugby over here, which is as similar as you can get to American football in this country. And you try and hold one of those balls or throw one of those balls and catch it in those conditions. It's like trying to catch a bar of soap. Never mind trying to throw the thing. So I don't think there's anybody in those conditions, but other than the fact that obviously, he seems to be developing Ben's clutch gene, which is positive.
Yeah, I think he's got 3 game-winning drives now, and you are right. It was 7 for 9. I got the image here. 7 for 9 attempts, 75 yards, 138.4, and 1 TD. I actually thought, to be very honest, guys, I thought it was his best game because the way that he finished. I really do. I think that we often talk about quarterbacks not finishing or they haven't got that ability to do that, and he showcased that in the last drive. Came down the wire, and the Raiders to me are a good team. I thought they played some good defense the whole game, and they end up playing a bit more zone coverage, backing off a bit. They allowed Najee Harris to go up the field. They allowed Frymouth, who got 2 catches, who played fantastic near the end, and they went for the throw at 1st and 10 with 15 yards out, right for the goal, and said, you know what? We're not going to muck around. We're going to go throw it to GP and see what happens. And they got the TD. I thought, honestly, it was one of his best games because it's showing still a nation that he can be a guy. And of course, people will revert back to the stats and say, he's got 5 TDs, he's only got 9, he's got 9 interceptions or 8 interceptions, whatever he has. It's like, I don't care. That game was all for Franco. And to me, he shut up the Raiders and he shut up some of the Steelers fans too. And there's been a lot of Kenny hate saying he can't throw the ball this far, whatever. But in reality, too, it was minus 20 degrees. What do you want? Chris Boswell was missing field goals here and there. This is not the start of the season where it is like September or it's nice and sunny. It was freezing. Absolutely freezing. And the guy went out there and did his job and won the game. Whereas on the other side, Derek Carr has been in the league for a long time. He threw 3 interceptions, stuffed up the game, and now sitting on the bench. So I just think the comparison so many times where people are saying Kenny's not this guy, Kenny's not that guy. He's not someone else on the other team. You know what he is? Kenny's our guy. That's who he is. He's Pittsburgh Steelers. He was told that by the media that he has small hands, he can't throw the football. He was told that he can't play cold weather football. He did that. He did that on the biggest stage with prime time, a night before Christmas. Everyone should be going to bed for Santa, waiting for presents, and he's out there throwing the football at night, bloody near midnight to GP and making a connection. Yeah. I honestly think it's crazy to me that we get on this guy's. I'm trying to hold back my Australians. There was actually 2 slangs I could have said there that I can't say anywhere on TV. What can I say instead? I don't know what I can say. We put pressure on his shoulders. Let's put it that way. I was going to say put pressure somewhere else, right? But we put so much pressure on this guy. And it's not needed. And there's a few slangs I could have said. I just can't say them. It's not needed. The guy went in there, did the job, and of course, it wasn't the best football. But to me, the football was a rushing game. The Steelers shut down the defense with Jacobs too. They shut him down like that. He went 50 yards. Kenny came out and it was clutch and won. I take some good value out of that Kenny can be the guy next year in 2023. And this is why I think this is the revenge game for Pickett. And we brought up in the before the show, Mackenzie, and this was the game that Kenny went out, right? Do you think there's a high importance, Mackenzie, for Kenny to go in and win this game?
I think that what you just said made a huge touched on a huge point, and I'm gonna continue with that point. He closed the game for us in a time where we needed it, right? I think that now we've seen what he can do. He's seen that he can do it. He can close a game in a minute, like we've seen before in the past. Steelers done. He has a lot of pressure now to go in that game and win this game for us. I believe not only because of what we had seen last week, but because of him getting knocked out in the first time we played the Ravens. I think there's more than one reason that we should be seeing him really, really, really like have one of the best games I think this season that he can have. It's just a matter of, everything coming together for him, and I think it could be the best game we've seen yet.
I agree. What do you think, Owen, about Kenny going to Baltimore for the first time? We all know that there might have been some spiteful attention towards Kenny, and even the play before he got injured, there was some like head-eye tackles, and you could kind of see their aggressiveness towards him because they want to rough him up.
Mhm.
Is there going to be it's going to be a hard game for Kenny to protect himself, or the O-line to protect him as our quarterback? Like, I'm trying to say, are the Ratbirds dirty?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, a couple of points. I think, first of all, I just want to say what George Testin said in the live chat is spot on. He said it's tough to follow a Hall of Famer no matter who it is, unless you're Steve Young or Aaron Rodgers. And I think he's spot on with that comment that he makes there. That Kenny is following on from one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I've heard people say that obviously Ben, in raw talent terms, is greater than Brady, and I think that's probably true. But Kenny's got a really tough job. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what you were just asking, in terms of are the Ratbirds dirty, I personally think, and I've been criticised for this, and I've been shouted down for this because I made a video about it. I think personally they targeted him, they headhunted him in that first game. They went after him. You've only got to look at some of the hits on him. Even before the hit that took him out of the game, you can see the Ratbirds are going for his head. They're going in on him. They're being overly physical with him. And, yes, that is, it's AFC North football, but does that make it acceptable? No, of course it doesn't make it acceptable. I had that with I think someone did actually write that comment on one of the videos with it, stop being so soft. It's AFC North football. That's what we expect. Well, that doesn't make it right. We're in a day and age where concussion is such a massive thing in the NFL. These players are going in with the intent, it seems, to deliberately injure somebody.
That's the difference, though. There's a difference between being intentfully dirty and playing tough AFC North football. Now, in that tackle, before I watched a few times, and then you showed me, I didn't realize that he grabbed the face mask, slammed to the ground. And even before, there was a tackle that they were going a bit after the whistle. And I've noticed too, and I guess the refs don't really, because he's not a superstar yet, so the league doesn't know what to do with him. But the refs don't really take care of the younger quarterbacks in this situation. You even look at what happened to Mason Rudolph. Like that kind of stuff can't happen from a Raven too, another Raven who went head high. And I'm not saying that they are a really dirty team, but this can be coachable, and they might say, go rough him up because they're not watching him.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at that tackle again, it goes against everything it goes against the law to do with the face mask. Roquan Smith holds the face mask, he pulls him round, and he doesn't let go. He's still got the face mask when he's pulling Kenny to the ground. That is an illegal tackle. That is a foul. No matter where it is on the field, whether it's on the quarterback, whether it's on a wide receiver, whether it's on a running back, it is still a foul. It is still an illegal play. And it was out of order. Smith's hit was out of order. And, they've got to protect. If, look, quarterbacks, are quarterbacks overprotected in the modern NFL? Yeah, of course they are. They're massively overprotected. You can't even breathe on them these days. But by that same token, that hit was nasty. It was dangerous. And I'll tell you one thing, that if that hit had been on Tom Brady, it would have been called. It'd have been called every single time.
Yeah.
Holy dooly. So we just got a special announcement from our mate, Stay the Steelers, saying that the game will be won in the trenches. If I can find this photo, I will bring it up in a heartbeat. But Mackenzie, how does Kenny prepare for this game knowing they might be more physical than any other team? Because they might be going for him. How's he get himself ready?
I think he just needs to prepare. I think he just needs to be smart. I think he just needs to realize that he has he has to know or anticipate that like something bad could happen to him again. And listen, I've never played football, so I don't really know how football players really do prepare. But all I can say mentally, though, he can prepare by, knowing what he needs to do to protect himself. Now, whether that's being, having all the trust in his players and while looking out for himself, I just think he needs to be smart. I mean, he's young, he's already made a few mistakes, but he just needs to continue to be smart and cognizant that like this could happen again. And if he knows there are things that he can do to prevent it, then he should be really focused on, protecting himself at this point, because we saw what happened to Tua, right? Like Tua's out. He has his like second concussion of the season.
Three.
So third, everyone's concerned with his health, and they're like, should he even play the rest of the season? We don't want our quarterback in his first year to be in that same situation. So I think it's a matter of playing smarter, not harder.
Well, I just got this up here from Fine Love in Your City, and this is gonna transition into the next point that Stay the Steelers said. This game will be one in the trenches, and Mike knows what I'm talking about. I definitely do know what you're talking about. Stay the Steelers sent me this photo the other day, and he said this is how the game will be won.
That's so
they say the game is won and lost in the trenches. We hope our O-line can protect Kenny Pickett like that. We really do. But honestly, guys, I love that photo, by the way. It's so funny. I can't believe we're getting sex bots here again. YouTube have been so amazing. YouTube's $1 million platform. You can't ban these bots. Anyways, I got 2 words for I think this scenario for Kenny Pickett going into Raven territory is get down. Dead set, get down. Like, you don't want to fight for those extra yards. Get down, because we already saw in the first quarter of the home game how vicious they could be, and they were playing more physical towards Kenny, and the refs aren't even calling it, so that doesn't matter. So my advice for Kenny would be, play the game the way you're playing. You run if you need to, but get down and take care of yourself. What do you think, Owen, he needs to do in this scenario? Because this is going to be a hard match. This is Steelers versus Ravens. This is tough football. But what we've seen from the first hit is like there's some bit of a malicious intent.
I think one of the big things, obviously, the line's got to come up big in this game and protect him. So Daniels, Chooks have got to be massive. I think the good thing is we've seen an improvement in Dan Moore and Kevin Dotson over the last couple of weeks as well. So that'll certainly aid it. And I think obviously they've got to scheme the protection in there as well. Use 12 personnel, use 13 personnel, get Gentry and Connor Hayward in with blocking as well. Really do everything they can to protect Kenny, to do what he can. And you know what? I honestly think that even, if Kenny's got a run, then he's got to be getting out of bounds. He can't be sliding in field, because I don't trust the Ravens not to hit him on the ground and take the penalty when he slides on the ground. I think they are predisposed to go after him. They will be looking to hit him. They know that if they hit him again in the head, there's a chance they could knock him out of the game again. Because you know what? I think there was because there was that tactic there. I think there's a genuine fear amongst the Ravens of Pickett, because my honest opinion is, and I know you know this, Mark, was that had Pickett stayed in that first game against the Ravens, we would have won the game. We'd have won the game easy.
They win that game. They only won by 2 points. Trubisky went down the field, but he threw the game away. And you saw it last week with that 15-yard pass to GP. He's not doing that. Can he throw a pick last week? Sure, I get it. But he's winning that game 110%.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
He has to be.
Definitely. We win. We play. He plays. We win that game easy. I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, to be honest with you, the Ravens are in the playoffs, and I don't know how the Ravens are in the playoffs. They're a poor team. They're a very, very poor team. Even with Lamar Jackson,
I know why. It's because their kicker. The kicker saves them, man. He saves them. Like, you look at their whole team, and their defense is good too. I get that, right? But offensively speaking, like, their kicker does save them a lot of games and gets them a lot of points. He's the MVP for me, is what he's doing. So sorry, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, I honestly think that they are a poor side. They are a very, very poor team, and they're lucky to be in the playoffs. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm saying that from looking at it as someone who watches a lot of NFL football. They are a very poor side. They've lost to Jacksonville this year. They should have lost. There's a number of games they should have lost, but thanks to Tucker, they fluked to victory. I think they're a first round exit waiting to happen in the playoffs. They are a very poor team.
What do you think, Mackenzie, do you think the Ravens are playing for something in this game? You think it's a meaningful game? They are trying to go for the AFC North. Do you think they're trying to win this game?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think again, anytime you play the Steelers, like the Ravens and Steelers game, it's a fight to the death type experience. Whether they're fighting for anything, anything, whether it be the AFC North, um, or just to make it into the playoffs. I think that it's a vengeful game. It's always a vengeful game between the Steelers and the Ravens, and I think that again, like always, tensions are going to be heightened at an all time high. I think, especially after what happened last game.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like. This is the. I know a lot of people out there saying, rest Kenny for the season, which in my opinion makes no sense. No sense.
Yeah.
They're saying rest him, let him have him too. We need him for the future, but you got to let him play too, and you need Kenny to go into Baltimore to try and find out what's going on. You need Kenny to finish the season as well on a high note if you can. Versus the Browns, get a win there. But this game is of high importance. What are your thoughts, Owen, about with resting Kenny? Is there any point of resting Kenny?
Absolutely not. What's the point? Why rest? Why rest someone who your future depends on? This is about getting him ready for next season. And there's been a lot of rubbish talked about what Big Ben said. Big Ben did not say bench Kenny Pickett. Big Ben said if we'd lost to Carolina, then maybe take him out. But Big Ben, if you actually read what Ben said in his podcast, he said that that he would play Kenny against Baltimore and against Cleveland, because you cannot have him going into next season having never ever completed a game against the Falcons, never having been to M&T Bank Stadium, and never having played a game against the Browns. He's got to have the preparation for next season, having played two of the Steelers' biggest rivals. You do not want 2023 to be the first time he goes to M&T or the first time that he actually faces the Browns. Whatever state the Browns are in this year. So resting him, benching him, anyone who says that, I just do not see the point, because who do you play? You play Trubisky. Well, there's a 90% chance, I think, that Trubisky isn't in Pittsburgh next season. So what, quite frankly, is the point? You play Rudolph again. What's the point? There's a 99.9% chance that Rudolph is not going to be in Pittsburgh next season. So look, I know there's still the opportunity to get to the playoffs, and I know that's still there, no matter how slim it is. But part of these last two games are finishing on a winning record because it's about creating a positive atmosphere ready for next season, getting Kenny in a place where he has the right positive mental attitude going into next season, having coming off a winning season, having finished off with a winning half of the season after the bye. That's what we're ready for. We're preparing for next season at the end of the day. I know there's still that chance of the playoffs. Realistically, I don't think we're going to make it, because I can't see all the different things coming off. I just think that, like the Pats, for example, I've never lost I've never beat the Dolphins in God knows how many years. I just can't see happening. But it is about preparing Kenny, and taking him out makes zero sense at this point of the season.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 in a row or something, or six in a row. But they haven't got Tua, but they do have, I think, Teddy Bridgewater there. JJ52 says resting Kenny is crazy. He needs experience. He's the best quarterback. Team while in playoff contention. What are your thoughts, Mackenzie, on last week's game? Was that a turning point for the Steelers? Because Mike Tomlin was on record. What did he say on record? We grew up today. What are your thoughts, Mackenzie?
Yeah.
Was that a turning point for the Steelers?
I think it was, because I think it shows that we are able to overcome anything. And, being down the whole game kind of sucks. I'm sure it wasn't sitting well. And I'm sure that, especially given the circumstances of having something to fight for other than, Franco Harris, so it was a big day for the Steelers. I think they really did come together. And I think that, because of that win, we still, have a chance of having a winning record and going to playoffs. So I think that's what he meant by that.
Yeah, definitely. I got a question for you both, actually, related to this whole, they're going for the playoffs. The story obviously that is going around at the moment is that obviously Matt Canada is on his way out after the season. Do you think that this was the wrong time for this story to leak out, given the fact they're still in playoff contention? Given the fact that players now are going to hear this and think, well, he's not here next season. What does it matter listening to him?
I mean,
what you got, Mackenzie?
If they're not already thinking that already, because I feel like whether you like your coach or not, I mean, if he's doing you well, that's one thing. And if he's not, then you got to evaluate your relationship with that coach. Maybe it is the best for him to part ways with the team, and maybe the players are under that understanding that they need to finish this season. They need to finish these last 2 games with him under authority and then move on from there. But it is hard, I will say, to get into that mentality that your coach is going to be gone next season. And what's the point of listening to him? Well, the point is he's still your coach. That's what my coach would tell me if I was still swimming and our coach said he wasn't coming back next year, but you're going to get another coach. And it's like, you know what? I still have to do what he says while he's here. It's a kind of a matter of respect at this point.
Yeah, I reckon it's on the media. I reckon the media, and that, was it 98 3 what is it? Oh boy, was it 98.3 the fan? Is it? That's where it came from.
93.7 the fan. Yeah, Ray Fittipaldo.
Yeah, whatever that is. I think it's completely on them. Like, why are you releasing it? I think the media just wants clicks. They just want views. Like, if it's true, sure, it's true. But why are you releasing it? Like, we don't know. We don't know. Actually, most of the information we get is not from the Steelers. Let's be honest. Most of the information is from Adam Schefter, all the other dudes, and stuff we rely on to create the rumors and speculation and have these conversations on the daily occurrence. But if it is true, I'm like, why release it now? They're obviously trying to be first. They're trying to stir something. That Filiponian bloke, I probably would walk past in the street, not even know who he is. That certain channel, I think the media in Pittsburgh often does stir a lot of things. And if it is true, they wanted to be first, did they not?
Well, yeah, of course they want. I think that the market, the media, they're so competitive already as is. If they feel like they're lacking in one area, maybe they think they're threatened by another outlet that may be getting more clicks than them. They're going to do whatever they want or whatever it takes to get more clicks than someone else. They're going to do whatever it takes to break that story. I worked with people like that when I was in the media. They're terrible. It's just not. There's no morals. They don't have any morals. It's just not ethical to do something like that if you're just trying to get clicks. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense to talk about that with everything else we have going on. Like, that's just an added distraction that we don't need right now.
Yeah, and that's what I think too. I think at a certain sense, I think everyone would be kind of happy if Canada's gone, right? Now, I know he's been calling it better, or the team's been playing better, so there's been less pressure on him. But at the same time, when you do hear something like that all the players and coaches know he's gone, they want him fired or whatnot. Dude, never. He is just. I don't even listen to his takes because he is an actual. They talk about trolls. He is a paid troll. His character is a troll. Like, I don't understand why people listen to him. To be very honest, I legit. I've seen a few of his articles, and I just like that. To me, is not journalism or sports journalism. That to me is him and Robert. You kind of know this, but like that to me is like you're doing that on purpose. You're doing that on purpose. It's like you're and he's like, no offense to big people, whatever. You counsel me if you want, but he's a big guy. He's not probably the best looking guy. He knows his role in the situation that he's an antagonizer, an idiot too. So he plays that role. I had friends like that at school. You couldn't hurt them. You couldn't hurt these people because they already knew deep down inside they will hurt themselves. There's some deep meaning stuff for you. But back to this thing with the Matt Canada. You do feel slightly a bit sorry for Canada in this situation because he's still got 2 weeks to go. Could have not waited until the end of the season. Oh, by the way, the season ends now. We talk about the offense coordinator. Now we're saying, well, he's going to be fired, and the players and coaches already know, or the building knows. Doesn't seem the right timing, but it's expected in this day and age of the internet how things get out. And we welcome in Pepper as well and says, "What's up, sugar?" So thank you, Pepper here. I don't know. It's a good question I wanted to ask. Like, I'm happy if they all I want to see is the offense get better. I don't care who's offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And you're still there? You're freezing.
I hope then they get when they hire someone. We hire someone from out of the organization, but not Nathaniel Hackett.
I missed half of that. Your internet's really bad.
Like a robot.
What is going on?
All right. Yeah, you guys are breaking up as well, to be honest with you. I was just saying, I hope that when we do hire someone from outside the we hire someone from outside the organization, but please God, not Nathaniel Hackett.
LOL.
I've heard that rumor too, right?
No.
But it's just, and you know what? This is exactly right, because we are in this business of drama and football, and it's entertainment, it's all this kind of stuff, right? The Steelers can't accept the drama. But the thing is, like, I put my hand up and say, you know what? I was part of the crew. I was stoking the coal. I was driving the bus for the Matt Canada, fire train, because I just didn't like what I saw.
Right.
And I put up, and I'm not taking my words back. I never will. But I will give him credit. He is calling a better game. But there's something missing there where there's superstar players, right? Pickens, Deontay, all these guys, they're still only scoring 13 points. And he's got, I think, the 28th in the league's points per game. So they need to get better in that aspect. And do you think, Mackenzie, if we were to get a offensive coordinator that has better skill set, you would see these players just pop and go crazy?
Yeah, 100%, because they'll really care about, what their niche is on offense. Each player has something that they're really good at, and it's a matter of using those players to their advantages. It's like, you're seeing it now being done in San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey wasn't able to do much with the Panthers, and now he's with the 49ers and he's thriving. So I think it's a matter of having the right coaching staff and really buying into the players and knowing and trusting in the players as much as the coaches say trust in us. We'll trust in your players that, like, you're going to call plays and they're going to produce, because this is what they're meant to be. I mean, we've seen it with George Pickens already. He's been so reliable for us, and it's only going to get better when we can start playing and play calling to their benefit, to these players' benefits. I've heard players on podcasts talk about, well, like, they weren't calling plays that were beneficial to my talent, my progress as a player. And I think it's really important, because you see the frustration with George Pickens because he's not being targeted as much as we would have liked to have been targeted this season. And I feel like that is a part of the play calling. So I really would get more excited to see what they can do with George Pickens. He wants to be used. He wants to be used in that sense. So it would be nice to see a talented coach come in and do something with the players.
I agree. And Owen, what are your thoughts about 70 says here, Canada is not the problem. So first of all, that's saying 100% he's not the problem. That to me is a pretty strong take. It's the players not doing their job. What are your thoughts about that? So it's not Canada at all. That to me is crazy.
I disagree. I disagree 100% on that. I completely agree with what Steve Smith had to say the other day. Back Canada is Saturday night, isn't he? He's a Saturday play caller, trying to call Saturday plays on a Sunday. He's trying to call college ball plays on a Sunday, and he runs a college spread offense. A college spread offense doesn't work in the NFL. His scheme doesn't work in the NFL. You give anybody off weapons that we've got, Pickens, all those guys, you give them to Shanahan, you give them to McVay, you give them to Bieniemy, you give them to Nick Sirianni, you give them to whoever the Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator is. And I tell you this, they're scoring 25 to 30 points a game. Easy. Kyle Shanahan, if we had Kyle Shanahan as I know he's a head coach now, but let's just say for a minute he wasn't. Let's say he was an offensive coordinator, because he does call all the plays for the 49ers. You put Kyle Shanahan as the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers with those weapons, Pittsburgh Steelers would be one of the top scoring teams in the NFL with Warren, with Harris, with Johnson, with Pickens, with Freiermuth and Pickett. I'm sorry, but Shanahan would have them scoring 25 to 30 points. To say it's the players, that's absolutely. I just totally disagree with that. It's Canada. It's all Canada.
What are your thoughts, Mackenzie, about this statement? It's quite a strong statement, actually. Canada is not the problem. So that to me is saying, well, 100% is not the problem. It's the players not doing their job. What are your thoughts about this one?
I don't agree with that. How can you say that a man who comes from coaching ACC college football, okay, not even SEC, not even Big Ten, not even the prime conference, and not even the prime team in the conference. We all know Clemson runs the ACC. He coached in North Carolina. North Carolina stinks at football. What in the world do you think this man is even qualified to coach an NFL offense after having little to no success in an ACC college football atmosphere. That's one thing I have to say. Another thing is, when you get prime talent out of the draft, you want to use them as much as you can, in the sense that when they're prepared, when they're ready, when they get when they feel comfortable on offense, wouldn't you want to see them be targeted, played more? How much did we really see from George Pickens in the first 4 games? Let's be honest. Barely anything. We've seen so much more of him since, first of all, not that Mitchell Trubisky was, not that, it was all Matt Canada, Mitchell Trubisky. We don't know all that. But I'm just saying, we're starting to see him come out a lot more. I don't know where that credit is due, but I just don't agree with a lot of his play calling. How can you say that run, pass offense, the predictability that we had on offense? How can you say that is the player's fault?
Hey, I think we just found and we know how to fire you up. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. And I agree with you. To me, look, I was on the guy. I was stoking the coal. I was driving the bus for the Matt Canada hate train. I just didn't like what was going on. He has definitely gotten better. This offense has gotten better. But to say that Canada is not the problem, it doesn't make too much sense to me. That is clear cut in society saying, well, he's not the problem at all, like at all. But he runs the offense. He's an offensive coordinator. He coordinates the offense. What he does, he sends the plays. He makes up schemes. It's not just like, okay, players go out there and play and catch the ball. No, you scheme guys open. He doesn't do that. He doesn't scheme guys open. He doesn't get guys into the end zone. The points, the stats, all this stuff. It's gotten better after the bye, for sure. But I think it's got to do with the players are actually playing some good football now. Kenny's out there too. Kenny from the bye has been playing a lot better. But overall, I think if we had a different offensive coordinator, a guy with some fresh legs in there, we might have a chance to see more points. And I think also Canada's got a bit of ego around him too. So there's got these rumors that, saying that he might be gone after the season and the players don't want him and Mike Tomlin doesn't want him, these kind of stuff. It may be a thing. I'm not too sure. But to finish, Owen, do you want to, like expand more on this? Like if Canada's not, if Canada's not the problem, is he the solution?
God, no way is he the solution.
Mm.
He's holding back the offense at the end of the day. Like I said, you've got real prime targets out there. You've got Pickens, you've got Johnson, you've got Freiermuth, you've got Gentry, you've got Warren, you've got Harris. To a lesser extent, you've got Sims, Boykin, etc., etc. Look at, I hate going on about it and like it, but look at the San Francisco 49ers for a minute. Is the San Francisco 49ers offense any better on paper than the Pittsburgh Steelers offense? I would argue not. For Kittle, read Freiermuth. For McCaffrey, read Harris. For Johnson, read Ayuk. For Deebo Samuel, read George Pickens. For Kenny Pickett, read Brock Purdy. What's the difference? What is the one difference between the two offenses? We've got Matt Canada, who is a college coordinator trying to run a college offense in the National Football League. And they've got Kyle Shanahan, who is an offensive genius, who's turned, okay, perhaps Deebo Samuel is a superstar, but other than that, the other players are not any better than what the Steelers have got. Their line is a little bit better than ours, but at the end of the day, their offense is not massively better than ours. Their defense more than compares with ours. There's no reason why the Steelers couldn't be in the same position as the Niners had we had someone like Shanahan coordinating our offense this year.
Is he playing it too safe, Mackenzie? You think Canada's not the problem? It's the players doing their job. Is Matt Canada the whole year has he been playing it too safe? To try and maybe keep his job. And if his job is on the rumored to be on the hot seat, has he been playing safe the whole year?
I would think that, yeah, in the sense that if you're going to be calling the same plays from last season with a different quarterback, and if you think that you can float by this season doing what you did last year when we barely made it to the playoffs last year, yeah, it's one of those things where Matt Canada is probably felt that this season, I don't know, maybe the fact that we had a new quarterback, maybe he felt that, oh, maybe I got a few years to develop him. Who cares if we do bad this year? Maybe that was his mentality. I don't know if he may think that he's playing it safe or if he's trying too hard. Maybe once he got heat throughout the season, he was trying a little harder to like get a little bit more creative because the players were vocalizing their frustrations. Maybe it kind of changed. I'm seeing that it kind of might have changed for him mid-season. Maybe he was like, oh shit, I can't get away with this anymore. Excuse the language.
Oh, you swore. That's the first one. That's all right. Tip jar. No, I'm kidding.
It's fine. Right. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're great. I just don't think that Matt Canada is.
Oh, that's all right. We got in the hot seat. But yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I think this whole rumor thing is maybe a bit blown out of proportion. Probably, the wrong timing of it all. You do feel a little bit bad for Canada. Now he's going to go out there and coach. And I guess if it is true, then he's lost his job, right? In 2 weeks' time if they don't make the playoffs. It would be funny to see, even put guys like me in my place that I said I didn't like him at all. And then, hopefully go into the playoffs and win some games. It'd be fantastic, though. But it does seem something very limited. Something's very limited in that area with his, I don't know, just the play calling seems very funny. And overall his ego is just like, you don't really get it, But I don't know. It's I kind of agree what Steve Smith's saying. I don't like the player as a Raven, and he's very, outgoing and stuff like that. But it does seem very Saturday-ish and college-ish or high school-ish. And we've seen that throughout the year. But the offense has gotten better, but it's still nothing spectacular, right? Owen, how do we go and beat these Ravens? Now that we talked about pretty much Kenny Pickett and a bit of Matt Canada, how do we go and beat these Ravens? And how does Matt Canada beat these Ravens? Or what scheme do we see?
I think, I think obviously the defense obviously needs to just play particularly. I think the defense plays as much as close as it did to the Ravens game anyway. Obviously, I think just have to keep the run defense as it has been over the last 2 games. And I know what people will say. Well, okay, you played the Panthers, you played the Raiders, but the Panthers have since the Panthers played the Steelers, they've rushed for over 500 yards. In the 2 games they've played. The Raiders are one of the top rushing teams in the NFL and have the best rusher in the NFL. So if we can shut down those teams, I think there's a chance we can shut down the the Ravens running attack on Sunday. And I think part of what didn't help in that game was the fact that I don't think the Steelers had planned for J.K. Dobbins playing. I think they were surprised to seeing Dobbins back, and I don't think they planned for him. So that I think there's more of a plan this time to stop the run. In terms of the offense, I think the offense have to go out there, establish the run through Najee and Warren early, and take up as much time off the clock as possible. Keep the Ravens, offense off the field for as long as possible, and I think not be afraid to open it up to Pickens and Johnson. I think Kenny is a lot more accurate in his throwing than Trubisky is. So I think that's what they've got to obviously protect the ball, but still open it up to Johnson, still open it up to Pickens and Freiermuth, because we saw in that 4th quarter on Christmas Eve how effective the offense can be when we target Freiermuth and Pickens.
Let's stay on there too, Mackenzie. What do you think is going to happen with Kenny Pickett? Is he going to have a big passing game? Are they going to set him up to run the ball? And how do they, what is the Matt Canada offense? To me, it is getting better, or it does seem like it's better. Time possession looks much better. Like since the bye, everything's going the right way, except they can't score in the red zone. They can't not scoring as many points, but they're still winning games. They're 5. I think are they 5-2 since the bye? I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-2, 5-2. So what do they need to do? Are they going to pass the ball more, or are they going to run the ball more in this game?
I'd like to see him pass the ball a little more, just because I feel like when you throw I think we saw the last play of the game, when Pickens scored that touchdown, I think we saw what Kenny can do. And I think that's just a testament to what we can see in the future. So I would like to see him throw the ball more, have more completions, for sure. Not just, rely on these 3rd down plays to get us where we need to be. I'd like to see more first downs from from our past game. We've been not more consistent, but we have gotten better on our run game on offense, using Warren and Najee. And I think we've seen them improve a lot. And I just want to just see more consistency, honestly. I just want to see, consistency with the receivers, not just Kenny and his accuracy, but with our receivers and catching the ball. And everyone just being on the same page, everyone hearing the right play call, everyone just being super present and focused, and they know what they need to do. So it would just be nice to see just more little signs of progress.
Big time. All right, so we want to end the show a bit differently today because we have Mackenzie's joined the team now with the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. And I'm hoping to, maybe we get your own podcast. So I'm going to put you on the spot though, Mackenzie, now. So I want to ask the listeners now. I think we have a show coming up in the new year. We're going to be calling it, if we change the title here and there, but I kind of like it. It's going to be called Ask Mackenzie. So asking, and it could be a live stream show. We don't know if we're going to do a live stream show yet, or a premiere, or videos, or mailbag segment. But if you guys have any questions for Mackenzie about the Steelers, put them in the chat below. Put them in the chat. So ask Mackenzie about favorite stuff, this game coming up, any Steeler questions, put in the chat below. Because Mackenzie, you're working with us now, so we appreciate your time and effort here, and you're a mad Steeler fan. We got you really fired up about the Matt Canada stuff, and you were the first person to swear on the Syndicate, but we'll cut that out. It's all right. But it is sometimes hard though, containing your energy like that. So yeah, ask away, guys. In the and here's our grid as well. Detroit Lions Syndicate. There we go. There's so many syndicates around everywhere. So yeah, ask Mackenzie a question. That's going to probably be a segment in the future, in the new year. We're only 2 days away from the new year. And by the way, guys, I'm not one of those guys that says see you next year. I don't know if you guys have that. They got in America. Do you have that, Mackenzie? Yeah. See you next year, and it's like 5 hours later. Shut up! Like
those people. You will come across those people. Yes.
Do you have them, Owen? Do you have those people, Owen?
Yes.
See you next year, mate. Bye, I catch you. And you're like, go away. We have our first question. JJ52 says, does Mackenzie Miller have a YouTube channel? Mackenzie, do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't do anything on it. I mean, I have a channel, but I haven't done anything with it. You can see my acting stuff and my sports reporting stuff, but no, I don't really do much with it.
Not yet. We have another one. What is it? Where is it? Oh, it's funny. Don't hate on the joke. It's funny, kinda, maybe. I don't know. Claude says, has Mackenzie ever been to Pittsburgh to see the Steelers play?
Yes, I have. Last year during the Steelers-Titans game.
Steelers-Titans game?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Did we win that game? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was the one where Hayden stopped them on fourth down.
What was it? Sorry?
Yeah, where Hayden got his feet on the fourth down line and hit that guy and pushed him back.
Okay. Right. And also we have Robert here too. And I'm still, that joke is it's bad. It's bad. But with the New Year's here very shortly. So Robert says here, Mackenzie, who's your favorite Steelers?
I think we talked about this last time. I love James Harrison.
Yeah, Debo's up there. Like he's just a worker, isn't he? He's like, I know he was a Bengal, he's a Patriot, but he's a worker. We have another one here from Todd and says, Todd, do you believe a Hines Ward should be in the Hall of Fame, Mackenzie?
Yes.
Is that even a question?
Clearly, yeah.
We have another one here too, and I feel bad because I'm ignoring you, Owen, but this is going to be our lead up to the segment.
I'm having a good rest, man. It doesn't matter. I've done a live stream tonight. I need to rest my voice.
You've been working hard this year, all year. So,
yeah.
And I guess we'll have one question to ask Mackenzie as well, right near the end. JJ52 says, Are you watching the Thursday night game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. Well, I should be.
What time is it? What time is it for you?
Me, it'll be at 5:20.
5:20 p.m.
So in a few hours.
Yeah. Because you're 3 hours behind, right? Is that right? Yeah.
So in about an hour 20 minutes, it'll be on.
Yeah, and it's Owen's like 4 a.m. We'll do a few more, then we'll start to wrap it up, guys. And look, I'm so keen for this Raven game. But George says, when did you become a Steelers fan? That's a big question.
Why?
Like you're from
Why?
LA, right? And now you're a Pittsburgh fan.
Why?
Oh, why? Sorry, why?
When I was a kid, my brother instilled in me to be a Steelers fan because my brother is my half brother. His father is from Pittsburgh, and I grew up with my brother in the house telling me to root for the Steelers. So ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Fair enough. Owen, do you have any questions for Mackenzie as we try and end this podcast on a good note?
Oh my God, put me on the spot. I forgot to come up with a question. I don't know, covered loads of questions there, haven't I? Loads of questions. Oh God, I haven't got anything, man. Do you know what? My brain stopped working, man. I've been working.
Okay.
I've been working since about since 7 o'clock. So
Don't need to ask me
my brain's
anything. You're good.
Well, did you work today as well? At your job as well? Is that right?
No, I had today off, but I've been making video content most of the day for like Britsburg for Syndicate.
Oh, that's not a real job, mate. No.
Exile. I've done my you know what? I hate saying this. But I've been doing work for my soccer channel as well.
Right, we know what it is in football. All right, I've got one last one. We'll go around the room. We'll ask Mackenzie. We'll ask Pittsburgh. I'll ask myself. Can the Pittsburgh Steelers make the playoffs, Mackenzie?
Yeah, we can make the playoffs. It's a matter of whether or not they want to make it or not. Come on, players. You want to make it or not? Let's see it happen. It's not that we're, I have no expectations if we even make it to the playoff, how far we go. It's a matter of just getting there to prove a point.
Yeah, I agree. What about yourself, Owen? Can we make the playoffs? Playoffs.
Yes, I think we can win out and give ourselves the chance of making the playoffs. We can make the playoffs. It is possible. Do I think we'll make the playoffs is a different question. I just genuinely can't see it happening because I can't see the other teams losing enough for us. I think our conference record will cost us, but I do think we'll win out. I do think we'll finish 9-8. And then all the Tomlin haters will cry and get really upset because he's got a winning season again. And I think they'll get really upset about it.
The more people hate Tomlin, the more I like him actually. Because I was watching the highlights and I saw Tomlin, hugging with Najee Harris, and we grew up today and these different things. I saw another tweet out there that was pumping the O-line up, and I think the O-line's playing much better. Go back and watch the highlights. James Daniels and the line, even Chooks on the side too. They're playing some good football on the O-line. I think this whole like Tomlin hate is just like you're now basing all your stuff off stats. Pretty much, or like the playoff loss and that kind of stuff. Go and watch him. Go and watch him coach the team and how he's around the players and getting them all amped up. He went and bought them Air Force Ones, and they got that victory over the Bengals, which was going to be the hardest one, right? He's in the huddle. He's talking to these guys like he's doing the best that he can. And if he gets this team to 9-8, sorry, there's no more fired Tomlin noise because first of all he said it was Cow's players. Then he said it was Ben's season. Now this is like Tomlin's team. If you want to play by your rules, we're playing by your rules now, guys. The fire Tomlin, that Kenny Pickett, and then you get them to 9-8 with a playoff chance. Come on, man. I'm actually really done with them. Like I'm so over the people saying fire Tomlin, which he's one of the greatest coaches in the league, and he has a chance to go in the Hall of Fame. Gets this team to 9-8 with a playoff chance. I think he's doing really well. But for me, guys, and to end the videos, and thank you guys for checking out the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Even Grid's in here, George, Todd, Stay the Steelers, Deal with it. Everyone's in here. I think we have Pepper in here too. Everyone's in here, so it's awesome to see. JJ52, everyone's in here. But I think we can make the playoffs, right? The reason why we can is we can win the first two games. And if I still have the screenshot, I do. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Now the Seahawks can beat the Jets. I don't think the Jets can win this game. I think the Seahawks at home can win this game. The Patriots are playing a Tua-less Miami Dolphins. No Tua. We can beat the Ravens. Then the next week, if we get these 6 games in a row, we need the Bills to beat the Patriots. The Bills are also fighting. If they're fighting still for the number 1 seed, they'll play harder. They can win that game. Here's the big question. I think that the one that might be the hardest game out of all of them is seeing the Jets beat the Miami Dolphins. That might be the hardest one. But if that happens, they can win. And the Steelers then win at home. Those 6 games go our favor. we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm struggling with at the moment is the Finns losing 2
This
out of
one.
2. Well, either the
Mike
pitches.
White can do it. Mike White can do it, you guys. Mike White can do it.
I just think. I just think with
McDaniel's
McDaniel's a very good cut. I just think that I can't see the Finns losing both those games. I just don't think they lose both. That's the one thing. I can see the Seahawks beating the Jets. I can see us beating the Ravens. I can see us, and I really, 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 really want to beat the Browns. And Mark knows why I really want to beat the Browns, and that's as much as I'm saying on that. And I can see the Bills beating the Pats. The only thing with the Bills Pats game, I think it's like you said, Mark, is how many of their starters do the Bills rest for that game?
Yeah, the thing is too, like, I can see things happening. The one I don't see happening the most is the Jets versus the Dolphins at home. The Dolphins need one win to get in, and then that would be probably the hardest one. But you know what? There's still a chance. There's still a chance, and those 6 games happen. And if let's just focus on week by week and game by game. If these 3 happen here, it's going to be a fun week 18. It's going to be a fun last few games. Anyways, guys, thank you for checking out the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Thank you, Mackenzie. So we will be airing hopefully in the new year or next year in 2 days' time. Yeah, next week, next year, whatever. We'll have some sort of a show involving Mackenzie and talking to her football Steelers. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great. It's probably going to be themed around the viewers asking questions and that kind of stuff, and just really hammering down and talking some Steelers football. That's what we love doing, and that's why we're here. So thanks, guys, checking out the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Thank you, Mackenzie, and thank you, Pittsburgh Owen. And as always, guys, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.